Well, good day and welcome to episode 12 of The Driving Force, presented by the Louisiana Transportation Research Center. My name is Todd Blunt. I'm joined today by my friend, colleague, and co-host, Garrett Wheat.
Good afternoon.
We're so thrilled that you've chosen to ride along with us as we highlight the people and projects that are driving change in Louisiana transportation. For the last 39 years, LTRC has merged the resources of state government and Louisiana universities to identify, develop, and implement new technology to enhance our state's transportation system. As we discuss here often, one of our big responsibilities is to provide technology transfer and training for the transportation community across Louisiana and the nation. That happens through a really broad array of courses, workshops, seminars, other opportunities that are offered here at LTRC's Transportation Training and Education Center. To do this work effectively and excellently requires that we remain on the leading edge of a variety of audiovisual technologies, and thankfully we have someone on our team with the right mix of education, skills, and experience to help us do just that. We're excited to welcome him to the show today. After we take a short break, we'll talk with Patrick Mehaffey, LTRC's audiovisual manager. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to The Driving Force. As I mentioned just a moment ago, we're thrilled to have Patrick Mehaffey, our audiovisual manager, here with us on the podcast today. He's going to tell us more about how we are outfitting and updating our various classroom and conference environments here at TTech to deliver excellent training to the thousands of men and women who walk through our doors every year. Welcome, Patrick.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Well, we always like to begin with introductions, so tell us a little bit about your education and career background, as well as how long you've been here at LTRC.
I actually have an education background. My degree is in music education.
Very cool.
Funny enough. Spent some years teaching, but as far as audiovisual, I began doing commercial AV installations with several different companies. I've installed quite a few things across the campus. Very fun things, including soldering microphone connections on the home field side of Tiger Stadium,
cool.
installing speakers on top of Alex Box Stadium, and many things across campus. But fortunate to be here.
Awesome. I've heard that story before. Yeah, I was hoping you were going to say that.
And how many years have you been at LTRC now?
It will make 10 years this June.
Okay.
So diving a little deeper into specifically your education and training, you are what is known as a CTS, or Certified Technology Specialist. Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about that, the significance of the credentials, specifically in your field, and how it equips you to do your job effectively?
Absolutely. There's an organization called Avixia, which offers the CTS certification, and there's other levels of certification. It is what you would consider the professional certification for an AV audiovisual professional. There's 14,000 or so CTS certified people across the world, and it is probably the leading AV organization for certification. There are others, but Avixia is the primary one in the United States.
14,000, that's not a huge number globally. So, I mean, that means you're in pretty elite company. Can I say that?
Sure. It's quite a test, I'll tell you. It's not something you just pay and get a certification. You have to study for that exam and take the exam, pass, fail kind of deal. It's painful at times. Just spent quite a few hours studying that, and just the past experience of installing all of those types of things helped.
You couldn't take that locally, though, correct?
They do offer some administration places where you can go and take it, a proctored exam for it. I attended Infocom, which is a national event for technology, and while I was there, I took a prep course through Avixia, which helped. It was a multiple-day prep course, and then spent hours studying after hours in my hotel room, and took the exam while I was there and passed on the first try.
Awesome.
Well, can you give us an overview of the various training spaces we have available here at TTech? the different technologies that you manage to kind of keep everything running smoothly.
Sure. We have 2 classroom spaces that hold about 25 or so folks, modular tables that can be moved. We have an executive conference room, auditorium that seats about 9,900 people, and then a computer lab with 24 terminals. Within those rooms, we've got full AV capabilities. They're controlled by Crestron equipment, Crestron touch panel, processor. We have in-room audio with microphones and speakers, projectors, confidence monitors. My whole goal in the way we've set up our classrooms is to facilitate an easy training and knowledge transfer. I want people to be able to come into our spaces and what's called a GUI within my world, GUI, Graphic User Interface, which is our touch panel, to be intuitive. You can come and hit start, open things up, and utilize our space and switch between your inputs. And
Seamlessly.
that's the goal. But I'm always here. I mean, I'm here to support that, and also have a graduate assistant I keep on staff. And between us, we're there for those troubleshooting moments.
And lighting plays into that too.
Correct. We've redone the lighting in our spaces with all LED lighting, been able to truly zone it so you can have good visual and view of the projector and what's on the screen, but keep nice light on the writing spaces and flat surfaces for your manuals or your notes and that type of thing.
Yeah, I know. I've only been here, year and a half, and I've seen so much that you've done in terms of lighting, especially over this last year. Almost everything I think has been replaced just in that time. So
the last 2 years have been a lighting focus, where we were able to do our auditorium first and then our classroom spaces. So all of our education spaces have good lighting. We can adjust it as needed, fine-tunable, where what we originally had was not that way.
What about like Zoom and Microsoft Teams and that sort of thing?
Absolutely. In our spaces, I've wired the audio in the room, including the microphones and the speakers, into the desktop computers within the room. So we're able to host Zoom calls and utilize our pan-tilt zoom camera, high-definition cameras, rear-facing or front-facing, so 2 options, and our microphones and our speakers in the room to facilitate the best type of Zoom you can have. You're not stuck with your laptop's little camera and microphone.
So the microphones pick up the students in the classroom as well?
Yes, the microphones pick up the instructor and the students all across the entire space.
What do you enjoy most about your role at LTRC versus what do you find most challenging?
What I enjoy most, I would say, is speaking to instructors after they've had a class.
Yeah.
And hearing their positive feedback. Most of them love our space. They compare it to other places that they've been and go, "Oh, I love what you have. I wish we had this everywhere." I love to hear that. That's my goal. I want it to be easy and in the forefront of technology, and making it easy on the instructors and giving that best experience for the students and instructors.
and we really do have people from all over that come in here to use our spaces.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Federal
across the
Highway
nation.
Institute, federal folks coming in all across our state. You hear people from everywhere in this place, and they love it.
What do you find most challenging?
Most challenging. I would say some of the funny things are obvious to a technology person, but not so obvious to a regular person who's just using a space. It could be something as simple as a extended desktop.
Right.
Within our spaces, you have the option of using a duplicate desktop where you see the same thing on every screen, or extend the desktop, which is as if you have 2 monitors together on your desk in the office. But when you're using extended desktop, the small monitor on the lectern is one screen, and then the second screen is what you see on the projector. So dragging something from the left to an imaginary right screen is often very difficult for people to understand. Those types of things, not that it's most difficult, but it happens more often. It's just not something you can fix. It doesn't have a fix for it. It's just
is what it is.
Just is what it is.
Learn how to do it.
Or the problem when someone calls and there's an issue in a room, and by the time I take my first 2 steps in the room, the problem is no longer there.
Yeah. I was thinking you were going to say people confusing IT and AV, because I'm guilty of that myself.
Yes, there is a lot of that, but part of where AV is going is AV over IT. There's definitely a blend and a crossover.
Sure.
Many of my devices have an IP address, and they work on a network and communicate in that way some. But audio video is going to AV over IP. That is the trend.
Well, Patrick, we know that, we've talked about it already in this conversation, but the world of technology always changing. So what are some notable upgrades and advances that you've overseen during your time here over the last 10 years, and anything new on the horizon?
Well, when I first came, everything here was analog, not digital, in layman's terms. Everything was VGA cables, lower resolution, difficult control, more manual button switches rather than one button that automates a bunch of switching. So from my time here, I've gone through and redone all of the rooms. Every room has been upgraded to digital. It's all digital control. It's high definition. It's user-friendly. All new monitors, projectors, lighting, equipment. It's been a long process. But we've been able to go through all the spaces and upgrade them all. But as far as what is coming, from my first room that I completed when I got here, that equipment is now over 10 years old. So we're reaching end of life, so we're beginning the phase of what's next for us. We are exploring the AV over IP Internet Protocol piece of that, and we're doing that with the current conference room that we're in. We'll have an AV over IP system installed in here by the end of this fiscal year, and we'll be testing how we like it and how it works for us to determine whether or not that's the route we take
For all the other
in the other spaces.
Very cool.
As it is a trend in AV, AV over IP is the trend. It does offer some nice benefits where you can network your rooms together, and I can take a source from anywhere in the system and put it on any display in the system. So for all of my classrooms, if they were AV over IP, I could take your laptop here with us today and put it in any classroom on any monitor in the building next door.
Wow. So like use case scenario would be a conference with an overflow room?
Absolutely. An overflow room is the ideal use for something like that.
We've had a need for that.
We use that from time to time. We do accomplish that now through Zoom calls
Sure.
or video conferencing, but it's a more direct one-to-one, one-to-two type of connection.
Less latency, better quality.
Yes, you're not relying on some other software product like Zoom to stream your stuff through, that type of deal. It's simply sending it from a piece of hardware in this room and receiving it over an internet cable, Ethernet cable, on a piece of hardware in another room through our own in-house network.
That's cool.
And there you see that blend of AV over IP,
Yes.
AV and IT. It does happen.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Patrick, for kind of giving us a window into a lot of these tools that we enjoy. But I'll just speak for myself. Don't often understand all the inner workings.
I can understand.
Grateful for people like you. Before we go, we want to have a little bit of fun with you. Garrett has prepared a few final lightning round questions, so don't think too hard about these. This is just to help our listeners get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah. All right. So we actually talked about this just before we started recording too. You're an avid disc golfer.
I am.
So can you share what is one of your favorite courses or multiple favorite courses, I guess, either in the Baton Rouge area or beyond?
I like Highland Road Park. It's one of the first that I played. It's got some nice terrain differences, that type of thing, and it's been around for a long time here in Baton Rouge. It was redesigned, I think, a number of years ago. I've been playing disc golf since May of last year. It's a really nice course. Another favorite would be Hidden Meadow in St. Francisville. In the sports complex park there, you would never realize what's down once you get away from the baseball fields. There is literally a hidden meadow down there that's just absolutely gorgeous. That course is great. But my newest favorite is Bogachita State Park. And you know this, but that's because I hit my first disc golf hole-in-one on hole number 5 on this past week. So it's a new favorite.
Awesome. Yeah, congrats.
Thank you.
And 3 witnesses.
Absolutely. 3 witnesses, have my discs signed. Hole number 5, red tees to blue basket, 200 foot.
Wow.
You alluded to this in your intro, but you also have a background in music.
That's correct.
So to quote Todd, a true Renaissance man, if you could only play one instrument or maybe a genre of music for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh, that's difficult. Only one instrument. As a musician, I think I would have to pick something that's tonal. I play drums. Maybe I should give you what I can play.
Well,
Yeah.
sure. Let's start there.
Drums, piano, enough bass to get me in trouble, some guitar, trumpet. I would probably say piano because it's a mix of tonal and percussion.
Yeah. As a piano player myself, I agree. You can do so much with it.
You absolutely
can do so
can.
much with it. That's awesome.
As far as music style, I really like jazz, funk, that type of thing. So I think that would be kind of where I would sit if only one style of music.
That's my son is a drummer, and he's just getting into some jazz stuff. Got his first set of brushes from his instructor, and he's starting to experiment and branch out with different genres. He said it's so fun.
It's way more complex than
So
you
fun.
think.
All right, so you mentioned too, like people who come from across the nation talk about our space a lot. If they get the tour of the building, they also talk about another space a lot, and that is your office with all of the Star Wars memorabilia.
Yes.
So could you talk, I mean, there's so many Star Wars questions we could ask. Maybe if you just want to talk about your favorite movie, TV series, character, dealer's choice kind of.
Well, my absolute favorite character is Darth Vader, and there is a story around that. Star Wars is the first movie I remember seeing in the theater. I would have been about 3.5. And in the theater, there was me, my mom, my sister, and then my dad sitting in an aisle. And that first scene when Darth Vader walks onto Princess Leia's ship and breathes for the first time scared me to death. And somehow I ended up from this end of the row in my dad's lap and didn't touch anybody in between. But ever since then, I've always identified in a positive way Darth Vader with my dad. And so Darth Vader is my absolute favorite character. And a very close second, as of recently, is Ahsoka as my second favorite character. And if you haven't watched the animated Clone Wars series and animated Rebels, it will really develop Darth Vader and Ahsoka Tano as a character. It's worth the watch, for sure.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Patrick, for being here with us today. A lot of fun to have you here. Tell us more about what you do, why it matters, and a little bit of personal fun there at the end as well. Give us a window into your world, all the different aspects of it. So we're going to take a quick break before we close out today's episode. That's a wrap for episode 12 of The Driving Force, presented by the Louisiana Transportation Research Center. You can learn more about what's happening at LTRC on a daily basis by visiting us online at ltrc.lsu.edu or on social media through Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and YouTube. I want you to like, follow, subscribe to our channels on each of these platforms. We hope to join us again on our next episodes. We welcome another fantastic guest from the Louisiana transportation community. Until then, we are your hosts, Garrett Wheat and Todd Blunt, and we thank you so much for joining us again today. Drive safely out there.